All right, Kamaljeet, give me a countdown.
Da 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 ti da 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 ti da 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 ti da.
Ba. Kya baat? Tabla countdowns.
Yep.
You gotta love them. Welcome to another episode of Absolute Focus. We have had a quiz, quite a busy day. We had morning rehearsals.
We're so tired again, just like last time.
Kamaljeet has a bit of a cold. I had a
Yes.
cold
No, sorry if I sniffle or cough.
a couple days ago. And so in honor of that cold, today's episode is sponsored by
Haldi.
It's like the cure for all, even though it doesn't do anything. Everybody says
Doodh haldi.
Dudh haldi
Dudh haldi
will
cure.
cure your cold, but
Put it on your
didn't
cuts.
do anything.
Put it on your cuts too.
They said, "Oh, I took dudh haldi every day. In 10 days, my cold was gone." I said, "I didn't do anything, and my cold was gone."
In 10 days.
Well, we have a great guest with us today. He's a close friend of ours. He's an amazing sitar player. Like, we've had the opportunity to work with him several times, and we're fans of his, not just friends of his.
You're a beast, man.
His name is Rajib Karmakar.
Yay.
Thank you for being here. Yay!
Thank you.
So, Rajib, why don't you tell us about? So, how did you get interested in the sitar?
Well, okay. Everything started with my parents gifting me a sitar on my first birthday.
Wait,
First,
what?
Yeah.
whoa,
So I didn't even know, like, the sitar was way bigger than me.
you're fine.
Sorry. The sitar was, like, way bigger than me.
Wait, you'd be big as a tumba. You'd be a little baby.
So I still have that picture, though, with me.
Is it a full sitar or a baby
It's a full
sitar?
sitar. It's a full Hiran Roy
Oh,
made
my
sitar,
goodness.
like original
Hiran
Hiran
Roy.
Roy.
Jeez.
It's like an antique.
Oh my
that I
goodness,
got.
that must sound amazing.
Yeah, that was. And I did play it for a few years. And so my father was a musician. He played several instruments. And my grandfather was a singer for theater. So it started like that. But there was nothing like, I was like forced to take music. It was just in the environment. So my father used to work outside and he used to visit our ancestral home once every week. And I was a baby that time. So he used to carry me on his lap and he used to go for like 2 hour long walk.
Oh, wow.
And that time he used to do his vocal riyaz. And I used to like be on his lap and he used to pat me on my back and I used to listen that.
That's so cute.
And that's how I kind of fell in love with music, you know. And
Yeah.
it started like that. And sometimes, like in our mango orchard, my father used to sit playing sitar when he used to visit home. And I used to be on his lap. He used to play sitar and used to fall asleep listening to that. So those were my early childhood days. And that you can tell as an entry to music.
So, where is this?
This is in Bengal, in my ancestral home.
Oh,
Where is that?
It's near Bolpur, which is Santiniketan, which is
Oh.
the place of Rabindranath Tagore.
Wow.
So it's like the Bolpur is like on the other side of the river. My place is on this side of the river, the Ajay River.
and tell us about these mangoes.
The mangoes, okay. So we used to
Because
have.
there's mangoes in America.
They're
no
they're
good.
not good.
You did your riyaz in a mango orchard. How many of those did you
Well,
eat?
not me. My father did. My father did.
But you were there.
I was there. I was listening. I was like a little
Baby.
baby. Like
Yeah.
hardly I could understand even anything. But somehow those practice and that kind of like riyaz, it was like very natural for me. It was nothing like it was outside thing
not a
for me.
chore.
Yeah. It was like I've been born and brought up and I have been seeing it since a kid, like my father doing that.
Yeah.
So it was like quite natural that I
Natural.
am doing that. But there was another twist to this. I was interested in soccer a lot.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I was like always into playing soccer. Okay. So my father told me, okay, I will not tell you anything if you play soccer, but you have to do 40 minutes of riyaz or practice, right? So that was my catch. I did 40 minutes of practice and my father wouldn't say anything. So I was like, okay, do this 40 minutes and I get to play soccer.
Huh.
But that 40 minutes has to be every day. It doesn't matter where you are and how, even if you are outside, you have to do singing or tal riyaz if you don't have sitar. So you have to be with music 40 minutes. That's it. That was his like.
And what age is this?
This was like 6.
Oh,
And your dad's your first teacher, basically.
Yeah, my dad is my first teacher. So at the age of 6, I played my first concert. I wouldn't say the public concert because it was in a school. And I could barely reach the top end of the sitar
Right.
neck, like the.
You're using full size.
I was using full size, and so my father used to tie it to a chair,
Aww.
and whenever I used to play it, I had to like kind of like a little bit. I had to like rise.
Yeah, of
to
course,
play
because you're
that.
so little.
So that was when I was 6, and after that, at 8, I gave my first public concert for my father's, as an opening act to my father's 70-piece orchestra.
Oh, wow.
So, and that day, all the stage fear from my end was gone completely. And I didn't fear those 10,000 audience, but 2 audience that was sitting there.
Yeah.
One was my father, obviously, and the second one was Ustad Amjad Ali Khan Sahab.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So that was like a start for me as a performer, as a musician.
And what's your father's name?
His name is Pandit Durgadas Karmakar.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And did Khan Sahab say anything to you afterwards?
Yes, no, before the concert.
Before.
So I went to meet him, and he could like literally see like my legs are like sagging, you know.
Oh.
And I was like, what's going to happen? So I touched his feet to receive blessings. And he said, "Beta, just have fun."
Yeah.
In his own way, he said, and that was like
All you
vanished,
needed.
you know.
Wow.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you played?
Probably Yaman, I guess. That's always a starting rock.
Yeah.
Probably it was Yaman, yeah. Or, yeah, Yaman. It was Yaman because then the next concert, I think I played Bihag with a play. And I still have that recording.
Wow.
Oh cool. So where's this
It has been
sitar?
long since
Where's
I've
this
heard.
sitar now?
This sitar is with my father till now.
Okay.
But he gave it right now, at present, it is with his friend who is playing that.
Okay.
It's one of his close friends. So he liked that sitar. So he's playing. It will come back.
You're just gonna. I was gonna ask.
Yeah,
you want it back, right?
I know, such a
That's
gem.
because I have so my learning started with my heart style of training, and then I switched on to like Itwa. So I have learned like several traditions of
Right.
music.
So why don't you sort of talk about Mayar and Itwa, like who are the sort of main proponents of those two gharanas?
Okay, so Maihar, as you all know, like Pandit Ravi Shankar
Yeah.
is there,
Ali Akbar Khan Sahab.
Ali Akbar Khan Sahab is there, and of course, like Alauddin Khan Sahab.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
a
the
huge,
founder, right?
I'm a huge fan of him. So, and he learned from several gurus, as you know, like several instruments from several gurus.
Yeah.
Like he was the one that collected everything and started off like.
Yeah.
But Maihar has been going on for long, you know,
Right.
but he gave that, what do you call that, the boost to that, you know, and of course, like several, like Nikhil Banerjee ji
Yes.
came from that gharana. So many stalwarts. And the incredible thing about that, I have to put this as a note, is if you look at it, all the students of Alauddin Khan Sahab are different.
Different.
Yeah, absolutely different.
It's the same in Tabla where Mia Qadar Bakhsh had so many students. Like
Right.
some of these pillar figures,
So
like
this
their
is
students
amazing.
are all different.
This is amazing. So I have seen this thing. This is so important in music to have your own sound, own voice.
Right.
Of course, like you have some basics, which is the same for everyone. But at one point, you have to have your own sound to make a
Yeah.
statement.
Yeah.
You know, and that I think is incredible. Whereas also in the Itwa style of playing, like there are so many stalwarts like Bilal Khan Sahab, Rais Khan Sahab, and then Said Pervez.
Yeah.
Sujat Khan Sahab, you know, Inayat Khan Sahab. Like I used to love like Imdad Khan Sahab. I still listen to that 3-minute recording. I was like, oh my God, like what a hand.
Wow.
Those times, those spool recordings,
Yeah.
Yeah.
those are like gems.
Those are the
you know?
best.
Those are the best.
I still go to my dad's house. Like when you listen to something on the spools or
Yeah.
cassette or record, it
It's
just
something
sounds
different.
better.
Yeah. So basically, the idea of the gharana is the same. It's just like, as in India, look at India, like it has so many languages, right?
Right.
Let's say like 22 languages as per the Google research. Okay. Now, this 22 languages has so many dialects,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? So that's how the gharanas are as well.
Right.
Music is the same. The subject is the same, but the dialects are different.
Exactly.
You know,
yeah.
so that's the tradition. So once you have a solid foundation in one style of a tradition, you can move and learn the other tradition as well, and there is no wrong or harm in learning.
Yeah.
It's your life. You want to carve your voice.
Yeah.
Carve it as you can. You know.
Yeah, I mean, our teachers tell us the same thing. Like Panditji tells Kamaljeet, like, you know, you have to have your own
Right.
voice. And my teacher tells me the same. Like, don't copy me.
Yeah, I shouldn't be
I've already done
copy.
that. do something new.
else.
Right. With this, I have one story just popped
Yeah, yeah.
in my head. This was told by Arvind Parekh.
Ah,
Yeah,
yes.
He was a
She's
student-
been to his house. Yeah.
So he's a student of Ustad
Ustad
Bilal
Bilal
Khan
Khan
Sahab.
Sahab.
So, and he was a huge fan of Pandit Ravi Shankar as well.
Yeah.
So being
Yeah.
his
They
were good
student
friends
and,
of both,
and a
yeah.
fan of, so he used to meet Pandit ji at a coffee shop in Mumbai for just like hanging out, listening to his stories, his tour travels and stuff, and ideas about music and so on and so forth. So Panditji invited him. That time he was doing this music for Discovery of India, which was, Discovery of India, which was like written by Jawaharlal Nehru, and he was doing the music for that. So he invited him, like, to come to my studio, if you're free. So he was like, of course I'll be free, I am a fan. I'd love to see how you create music and things. And then he went there, and there was a tune in that, like a theme music, and it kind of like got stuck in his head. So all throughout the way, he was like humming it.
Yeah.
And he came back home, and he started playing that, right? And now Bilal Khan Sahab came. He was going up the stairs, and then he listens to this tune, and he goes to Arvind and says like, "Where did you get this? It is not taught by me."
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, this happened. I went to the studio. Panditji was giving music. It was from his music." I was like, "Oh, very good." Then he said this incredible thing: "Jo bhi mile, usko apnao aur apne rang mein rango."
Yeah. Exactly.
And he himself told, कितने लोगों के भीख पड़ा हुआ है ये इस दामन में.
Yeah.
Because he learned from so many stalwarts, like not only his father or his family, but
Yeah, yeah.
also he got inspired. So an artist's inspiration can come from many ways.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
only like the teacher, or it can be any subject, anything going on.
Absolutely.
So always keep your eyes open, and whatever comes to you, receive it, and then paint it in your own way.
Yeah.
That's
That's what we're all trying
we're
to
trying
do.
to
right?
do.
And then luckily we both have teachers that encourage
Yes.
that, because some teachers are play it the way I told
Yeah.
you, and that's also a bit close-minded.
Close-minded, yeah. There's so much
that
we
is
can learn.
needed till
At
a
the
certain
beginning.
time, but
At the beginning,
but
yeah.
the guru also, or the ustad, needs to like turn that switch on. Okay, now you are ready, and you go and learn,
Go see the world.
go see the world, because that used to be our ancient gurukul system. If you
Yeah.
see, so there were these 4 prime gurus, for example, like 4 prime gurus, and they have their like advanced students, and they used to teach the other students. So there was like a level,
A hierarchy,
you
yeah.
have to go on to become like the straight disciple, like the, what do you call that, the closest subordinate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you call it?
Second in command.
Yeah, second in command. Right. So when you are done with that, then the guru will tell you either to go to a different person to learn and to expand more, or to travel
Yeah.
and to start learning. And that was like the way the Gurukul used to work. And that is an old system.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why we don't follow it so much.
Yeah.
We should follow it. That's how things expand.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So how did your training, what was like a typical session with your father? I mean, he's your dad, like
How
but
do
he's
you
also your
separate-
teacher.
yeah, how do
Was
you
there a
separate that?
separation, or was it one guy?
It was one guy. Music was never, as I told, music was never like, oh, this is your time for practice. But you have to make a time, you have to find out a time, 40
Yeah.
minutes you have to do. And that was my riyaz. He wouldn't tell me what to do during that time.
Yeah.
That was like I was already being told. Now, how am I being told? While eating,
Yeah.
while traveling,
Right.
or while just waking up in the morning.
I think, yeah, this has come up in the other episodes with the other musicians we've talked to.
Yeah, remember the
Is that
Bandish?
the lesson that you have with your instruments, like me in front of my tabla, her in front of you in front of sitar, is important, but what is equally or even more important was all the tea time lessons, the
I
dinner
think
lessons.
it's more important,
Yeah.
that lesson.
Yeah, I
Because-
mean, I told you there was this story where we were driving back in the rain. It was heavily raining, and my wipers were going tuck 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 like tuck 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 tuck.
Yep.
So Ustadji goes, "What tal
What
is
all
this?"
is this?
And I said, "I think it's 5. It's a chanda 5." And he said, "Very good." And then he just started reciting compositions. Now it started raining harder, and I'm supposed to for safety, increase the speed of the wiper. But I didn't. I left it there because he's in the mood.
He's in the mood.
And I just turned to the right lane and went slow. And like I got so much information about 5 beats that day that I've been using it up until this day. And this was in my teenage years. I just gotten my license.
That's it.
So these lessons are more like I've had lessons
more
at Carl's Jr. I've had lessons like sometimes I remember we were at a dinner party. It's after a concert, so it's like 2 or 3 in the morning. A family had invited us to dinner after the concert, and it was Ustadji's talking to them. There's like 15 people there, and I'm sitting on the floor. He's in a chair next to him. He just turns to me and he whispers some tick, and he's like, "What tal is that?" And then he goes back to their conversation.
Yeah, but
Then we're driving home 2 hours later. He said, "So, what tal was that?" And I said, "Ustadji, I don't know." And then he said it was like paune aath matre, right? 7 3/4. So then he said, "This is how you count it. This is what they did." So these lessons are, but not in front of tabla.
these are priceless.
Yeah, not
They're
in
like that's it.
yeah.
I have a similar experience also with 5, but
Yeah.
it was 10.
Yeah.
The way like so there was we were in a train traveling, and there was another train. So in India, like this. When one train passes one track, the other train has to stop, like
Yeah.
things like that. So our train was stopped. This other train was passing by, and my teacher told, my guru told, what is it going in? He was like, I was like, well, it seems like I was like, good, 5.
Yeah.
I was like, very good. Here is the comparison.
Yeah.
It's a comparison, right there. And he started doing variations and things. I was like, okay, that's a lesson. I still play.
Yeah.
So those were the best times, and those are the memorable times that make or that inspires or blossoms the artist.
Yeah. And then sometimes
The creative
it's
way.
just a seed.
Yeah. It's just
And
a
you don't
seed.
even know what it is. And then 10 years later or 15 years
feel
later, this happens to me today where I go, oh yeah, Ustadji told me about this 15 years ago. I didn't understand what he was talking about then. Now it makes sense.
Yeah.
And these things blossom, you got to water them.
Yes.
Some fertilizer.
It's true.
It's like that.
Yeah. So let's listen to one of Rajib's tracks. Let's first listen to his classical track.
Bageshree?
He's going to be playing Raga Bageshree, which is a beautiful rag, and he played it beautifully. So let's listen to that. And we're back. So that was Rag Bageshree by Rajib. We were talking about our classical training and the inspirational moments we've had in our training. So you talked a little bit about Riyaz when it was 40 minutes when you were 6. So did that number change?
That number changed. That number changed when
40
I was...
minutes when you're six is pretty hardcore.
Yeah, your concentration has to be there.
We teach kids from a range of 6 till, I guess, 15. They can't even concentrate for 2 minutes, and you practice for 40 minutes. when
Well,
you're
my
6.
catch was to play soccer.
He had a carrot at the
just
end
like
of the
you
stick.
had your pizza.
Yeah, my dad got me into music by pizza.
Yeah, see? Everyone has it.
You have a
You just have to
you need
find
a
it.
prize.
I didn't have a prize. What did I have?
And then, yeah. So, yeah, that number increased when I was 15. I started doing straight up 5 hours.
Wow.
5-6
So this
hours.
is after school, before school?
This was in the middle, when I went to school, the school changed from 7:30 when I was in 12, grade 11, 12. So that changed from 7:30 to 12 p.m.
Okay.
So it was a 12 to 4 kind of
Okay.
Right.
yeah, it was
So you did it in the mornings?
I did it in the mornings, yeah. Mornings, and then when I came back at night sometimes. So that's how I did it. And then that drastically increased when I was in my 18.
Increased.
Increased to
Oh,
13,
man.
14 hours straight.
What?
Yeah.
Are you telling porkies, or is that true?
She's from England. I didn't even understand that.
I said, are you lying, or is that true? 14
No.
hours.
Yeah, 13, 14
You can't
hours.
sit straight for 14 hours.
Well, but I can sit still now for 5 hours straight.
Okay.
Yeah, 5-6 hours.
So you would break it up.
I'd break it up, yeah. Because, okay, so regarding the practice and riyaz, there used to be this kind of things, okay. So I was in my college, and I had most of my friends, of course, most of my friends were musicians, and out of those musicians, most were tabla players.
Right.
So they used to come always to my house. One person or the other. One is coming and the other is like when they're going, the other is getting in. So it was always a constant process. We used to take
Yeah.
breaks like tea breaks and went there, and we have this chache dukan, chacha
Oh,
ki
nice.
dukan. And we used to have like one tea and like just freshen up a
Recharge.
little bit, recharge and then come back. So we used to sit like from, let's say like, and there was one friend of mine who used to stay like in the night because we used to practice throughout. So till 11, from 11 p.m. we used to sit, and then when the sun rose. So Chacha's dukan will open up, and then we'll be the first customer there
Wow.
for tea.
So it's not work. It's fun.
It's fun.
It's fun for you,
It's
yeah.
fun,
Yeah.
So some
That's
days.
such an awesome atmosphere to
Yeah,
have.
that's a great
no
atmosphere.
one else, I've never heard anyone have that atmosphere.
So sometimes it used to be just like we used to practice, for example, like variations of jhala for 2 hours, 3 hours straight. So how many variations you can do, and just like keeping
Man.
that.
That's some forearm pain right there.
Yeah, and sometimes like just one line. I used to practice paltas, like straight up paltas, two
Yeah.
octave, 2.5
Yeah.
octave, for like 2 hours straight.
Yeah.
And yeah, so, and sometimes we used to play compositions, like which I do right now also with many of my friends who visit.
Oh, what
Yeah.
kind of competitions?
No, like compositions.
Oh,
Compositions. I think it's
Compositions.
I think
No,
we're
no,
competing
no,
on
no,
who
no.
can
No,
play
we are
fastest
not.
kala.
See, music, no. Music is not about competition at all.
Yeah.
It's just like about having fun and
Yeah, definitely.
just like you were competing with yourself. Let me keep it that way.
Yeah.
You have to grow better each day. Like
Yeah.
Bilal Khan Sahib said this thing actually, and like you should always feel that definitely it is better than yesterday
Yeah.
when you played, and that what the audience should also feel. Like I have grown a little bit. Let me
Yeah.
grow again. Let me grow
Yeah.
again. And that's what
That's what we're striving for.
Yeah.
It
It's
never
so hard, man.
It never it's
It
never,
never
ending.
ends.
It never ends. If an artist thinks like it's done, whatever I'm playing is, that's it, done. You
the
have to be
artist done.
you have to be unsatisfied. Like you have to have that craving. Like I wish like that one I could have landed a little bit better. I could have
Yeah.
pulled that mirror a little slower. It could have
Yeah.
given the more effect. Like all this nuances
Yeah.
change the overall approach.
Did you ever record yourself when you were practicing and listen back?
Yes, I did.
When did that start?
After 15, I become serious. Like after 15, I was like, I had 3 options open. Either be an engineer.
Yeah.
I was never into being a doctor. I was like into engineering because I loved computers. throughout. Or be a soccer player, or be a musician. And then I chose, I'm doing music, whatever it takes.
Wow.
That's
so
awesome.
15, I was like, okay, good, I'm doing it. So yeah, then I was serious, and then I started. Of course, I have many recordings of my. I still do. I still record like things and try to listen and try to do. That's a ongoing process,
Yeah.
Yeah. And so how did you come to the West? Like to
LA.
America?
To America or to Europe, because my first West was Europe.
Okay.
okay, which
Did you
part?
live there or just
Well,
Visit.
I was visiting, but throughout, if I calculated, I lived there like for 6 months in Europe, touring,
Yeah.
and 6 months in India. That's
okay?
what I was
So
living.
you
like.
basically lived there.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But I was traveling from one place to other.
Yeah.
So, So it was. I never planned for it for both.
How did
Okay.
Europe come about then?
Okay, so I was at a concert. I still remember. It was that time. This guy's. It was with S. It started Symbiosis. They used to do a concert at Kala Mandir.
Okay.
Yeah, they still do it, but in a few years it was like there was a pause. But that was their like one of the first concerts, first. So I went there to listen. Parveen Sultana ji was there,
Oh,
so
wow.
I was like listening the whole night. I was there for listening, and then I received this call while going there that do you have any audio recordings or video? Like okay, I don't have anything actually. Like video for sure, no. Those times the MP3 players just came in,
Right.
you know.
Winamp.
Yeah. And we had like my a Windows Movie Maker or something,
Right.
you know. So that was those were my tools. And YouTube was like just beginning, and Facebook was like
Not
think
there
not
yet.
even
It was
there
probably
even.
MySpace or
MySpace.
something.
MySpace was there. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So I listened to the entire concert throughout the night, and then I came back and I was like, let me find it. It might be with my father or in some of my MP3 players, some recording I might have from my concert or a house practice, you know.
Right.
And actually, I had two things. One was from a concert I played at Salt Lake Stadium, and it was for an event, for a non-profit event. And then the second one was for I was just practicing, and the first one was Todi, which I played, and the second one was Jaijaiwanti. So those were the two.
Oh, both
Jaijaiwanti,
both are
I
my
know,
favorite
awesome
routes.
rugs.
Thank you. So I came back home. I was like, I'm not going to submit it just like a audio because I don't want audio only. So what I started developing a story, and I googled images regarding the story that I said in like according to the mood of the rag, and I wrote like things in Windows Movie Maker and prepared a movie like thing.
See, that's smart.
Yeah.
And those were the two things I sent, and that gave me a tour of 15 days with 8 concerts in Germany and France. That was the start there, and after that, it all started there. Now coming to the US, I have never planned. I was like so busy, like touring and things and playing everywhere. And that time I was building my double neck sitar. So I was working with like FX and all those kind of things, you know, newer technology and instrument making and things like that. So I met this person who was also a Sagrid of Ustad Said Pervez.
Okay.
Yeah. So his name is Curtis Ban. So he was like later on I came to know who he was, but as we met like friends.
Oh, okay.
Right? So we are just like talking about ideas in music. I listened to Shakti that time. I was like so inspired. I was like talking about all this like rhythms, all this kind of things, all the newer technology in music and things like that. And then we just had one day, you know, this happened all in one day. Like we are following Usaji and to his concerts. Then he had to leave Kolkata. So we are having a coffee in Cafe Coffee Day, you know, and we were just talking about this. And he was like, you know what? US is the place for you. I was
so
like-
by the way, we stepped over something that you started learning from Ustad Shahid Pervez concept.
Yes, so I started learning from Usaji in his workshops. As I told, like when I went there, I was already like playing and
Yeah.
playing. So I went there to see like his approach towards music.
Right.
So I was like hugely inspired by his music. I still am.
Yeah,
Like,
we can hear it.
I
Yeah.
listen to it. But as like a Sagrid, I am not like a Sagrid,
Yeah.
but I am like
A follower.
a follower.
Right.
Yeah.
An ashik.
Yeah. Ashik, yeah. I would prefer that. Yeah. So yes, I
Yeah. So that's
learned
good.
it
So, anyways,
from
back to
him.
the
Yeah.
story was that he said you should go.
yeah. So he said that US is the place for you to what you are doing because you will get that that what do you call that, the structure or like the backup or not the backup, I would say the infrastructure
Right.
to develop that thing.
Yeah.
You know, and I came here because I always wanted to work with world music. I wanted to learn more about the other music and cultures, and also with technology. Of course, that was my
Yeah.
love since a kid. You know, so and then I told him that I don't know anyone here. He was like, "You don't need to know. You know, you just start preparing your documents and things, and prepare what work you have done." So then I did that, and he approached to Ajay Kapoor, who was
okay.
the music tech department head at CalArts, and Swapanji also saw.
Right.
So when I submitted the portfolio, he was the one like who liked it, and then they gave me a scholarship,
Wow.
and which
Wow.
enabled me to come here and study.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah,
awesome.
that's how it all.
So then you ended up getting a master's from CalArts.
Yes.
So what's that program like? Like how like you're training in with your father, you're training with Ustadji, versus
Okay.
what's the difference in the approaches of how the teaching is done?
Okay. So first I learned from my father,
Right.
and I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Then I went and learned vocals for 8 years from Ustad Ghulam Akbar Khan Sahab, Rampur Sehsawan. Then I was in Benares. Then I learned the Senia style of playing of sitar, which was
Okay.
from Pandit Ramdas Chakrabarti. He was a student of Ustad Mustaq Ali Khan Sahab from that lineage. So then I was in Calcutta. I learned from like several other maestros. Like I have been to their classes and this and that. Like I was in search for like what to do
Knowledge.
next, what to do next, you know. And the college was there, of course. But when I was 21, I already started touring. So it was like I was touring at one end, and then I was going and meeting people and was like getting inspired. And I learned a few compositions, few of the techniques, styles. So I was not like having like what I need, you know. And then I found Ustadji, and then I completely devoted like listening to him, and because you have to make one idea like, okay, this is it, I have to follow that. So I followed that, and then I went. I'm still following, still I'm learning, but then I came here, and then my eyes opened more that there
Right.
is more than sitar, than Indian music. There are other forms of music. I started learning African music. I started learning Balinese. I played in the Balinese ensemble, Persian ensemble, African
Right.
ensemble, like with their ahaches, with the chalung and all those.
Yeah.
And those gave me it was an eye opener, like what could be done with, like if we start learning those things and
Putting them in
putting
ours,
them
yeah.
in and that's what exactly I'm doing along with technology and things, you know.
Yeah.
So
and we're trying to do the same too. I mean, we
Yeah.
cross boundaries all the
All the
time.
so
time, yeah.
that's the way, like, because at one point you have to put yourself out of the comfort zone. For me, being with only sitar and learning, of course I'm learning that, but not to open yourself up to other things is like being in a comfort zone for me.
Absolutely.
So I wanted the challenge, like whatever I learned, now it's time to test. Let me see how I'm doing. So that's what encouraged me. Okay, so that's why I play with all sort of, like, name any form of music.
Yeah,
Most
yeah.
probably I'll have played with them.
No, that's good.
So, and I'm learning because learning has never stopped. Now, you know.
So, and then you probably read Western notation?
Yeah.
So where did that, was that from India or from
Callers,
here?
Callers.
So you picked it up in your adult, yeah.
Well, just before coming to Callers, I started learning that because I had to pass the
Oh.
entrance test, right?
Oh,
So, and those 2 years, I found myself like, I was like crazy. Like I was sleeping like 4 hours, you know, working 4 part-time jobs. Because see, even if I got scholarship for an Indian family to raise their kid, like for giving them for education, so I was like working day and night, you know.
Yeah.
And sleeping for like 4 hours and then driving. Like many a times it happened, like while driving, like I was falling asleep and things like that, you know.
Oh my God.
So that time I was just like absorbing whatever I was getting,
Right.
you know. So that was the time I was like investing in myself. I would keep it like that. And then, yeah, when the thing ended, when I got my master's, and
So what kind of jobs did you work?
wow. So I worked, first job was as a librarian.
Okay.
Second was like I was a caretaker for Indian music room. So I used to take care of the instruments,
Right.
take care of the classes, like what needs to be kept in order and things like that. Then I was also a CAP teacher. So CAP is a community arts partnership, which is an after-school program from CalArts. So I used to teach on Saturdays, that thing. And then I used to be the stage manager. So that's
Okay.
where I learned all the stage managing. And
So all these
event
jobs
management
though are related to
are
music.
related to music. So,
not working
so
at
it was like
McDonald's.
building,
Yeah.
right? It's like building your skills up
Yeah.
while
Yeah.
studying.
And and so what's not really taught in our tradition is all these other skills.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll learn about palte and gaiki and
Japtal.
dans and japtal, whatever. But how to, like,
Be a
manage yourself
businessman.
with
How to manage
yeah,
yourself, how to make
promote
a website,
yourself
How
and
to
like
write
websites.
grants.
how to build your
Grant
social
writing.
branding and
Yeah.
grant writing, all these things.
These
you
are all
need to do.
skills that like
know?
that
to
we
just
need,
pick up.
and we just learn along the way.
Yeah.
But this, for you had sort of like that infrastructure that
Yes.
your Staji was talking about, that it helped you grow these skills.
Yep. So that's why I came here, you know, and that's what I got.
Yeah, and you've gotten to work some amazing projects. You just
Yes.
performed at Walt Disney Concert Hall. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because that was a really important project.
That was a great project. Okay, when so this came to me like this, it was like an accident kind of thing. I never knew this was going to wind up in to Walt Disney, you know.
Right.
So I was just invited by Reena Ismailu, who's an amazing composer,
Right.
and you also check her out. Very good, excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We heard her
like her
work.
stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent job. So she approached me and she was like, "Well, would you like to play sitar on one of my pieces? Like, I have two pieces for you." I was like, "Okay, cool," you know. And then she sent me the score and stuff. So that was in for a non-profit cause. There's a
Yeah.
non-profit organization called Tonality. They're doing extremely good work. This is also regarding like against the gun violence.
Right.
And amazing work they're doing through music. I'm really glad to be a part of them. You know?
Yeah.
So it was with them I had to play, and Reena told me later on that was actually an audition for playing in the Walt Disney.
Oh,
So I never knew that. I just played what
Yeah.
was supposed to be played, and I just played it. I just was myself, you know. And they
Yeah.
said, okay, next time you're doing it, it's there. I was like, what? Okay.
I guess
Great.
reading notation helped then.
Yeah. It was good. But you know, when you blend the Western tradition with the Indian tradition, this is what happens. You read the notation, but you play it so many times, and with the Indian system of thing, you just grasp it and you memorize the whole
Yeah.
thing. So what happens? You keep the notation. Now with those pieces, what happening? I just keep it, and I could hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just keep sometimes because as a backup, but I don't
Reminder,
even
yeah.
look at it.
Yeah, I mean, so we don't read Western notation, and it's a skill we should probably
We need to
learn.
learn.
But
It's
so
a
in
skill
those
that
si-
everyone should learn.
yeah, in
Yeah.
those situations, like
have to remember
she just has to
everything.
memorize it all,
Yeah.
and
And sometimes it becomes tough if you have to
Yeah.
memorize. Because think about this: you are in a situation, and the concert is tomorrow, or the
Yeah.
recording is tomorrow. You are given the piece. Like this happened with me several times. They have given me the piece like the night before.
yeah,
Like I was recording for this person for I was recording for Herb Albert.
okay,
Yes.
Ah.
And then he gave me the score like I think 2 days back, and I didn't have time because I was like traveling to San Francisco. So he gave me a score and a recording also. So I heard the recording a few times, and then I came back in. I read the score, and I was like, okay. Took my points, and I was like, okay, good for it. So that 1.5 hour recording, they booked me. It was done in 20 minutes. Done.
wow,
So that is the importance of like.
yeah,
And many a times I received the score just the night before.
yeah.
And then you have to go and play.
Usually, I don't know if people know this, but every music project in the history of the world, in every culture, is done last minute rush.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Why do they do that?
It happens. It's a
I've
thing.
never seen a project. Oh, we're going to do this project. We have 6 months to do it. We'll all practice and learn. It's always
It's always the
I needed-
urgent.
I needed it
Fires
yesterday.
are happening. The sirens are going.
It's
Do
always
it.
like that. And I think that's necessary for
Yeah.
because that's what also like kind of checks you if you're
Yeah.
right on the game or not. You know.
Yeah.
And that's what it should be. I
So let me ask you about.
think. But preparation is needed.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean
Yeah.
you know like it should be prepared way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, like, another part of our music is that we're gonna learn Rag, Todi, or Jaijaiwanti, and that's what it's about. It's about the Rag,
Yeah.
right? But in this project with Arena, it's not about what you're playing. It's a bigger picture.
It's a bigger
and then like you just did for the Todi and Jaijaiwanti, you put a story to it.
Yeah.
So how did you, like with our training, but how did you get to that next bigger picture? Where did you get that idea from?
Like which one? The arenas?
Both, either
Or
one,
both?
like, or how to add, like if you're playing Rag Kirwani tomorrow, right? You and I will be like, oh, that's awesome. He's playing Kirwani. These are the notes. These are the different ways that you
This
can do
is-
it. This
yeah.
is traditional Kirwani. This is something new Rajib brought. It's about Kirwani. But maybe to an outsider, you're gonna say like, this is about the dying children in Syria, and this is what the piece is about, right? It's different.
Yeah.
So how did you go from it was about the Rag to now it's about this bigger story that everybody can appreciate?
A way to look at it is it's kind of like a movie making.
Yeah.
But instead of the visual media, the thing happens in a kind of a little different way. So you have the subject matter, right? So
Right.
you have to visualize the subject matter. Okay? You don't listen. You visualize. And then you listen to what the subject matter is telling you. And it will guide you through that. And that's how that's how I also compose.
Right.
And then it guides me to where it needs to go. And things start on flowing. And then you kind of start seeing like, okay, now this enters like a bass, just a bowing enter. It becomes like more tense
Yeah.
towards that. So it's the same aspects as in movie making, kind of, if you see. So except that is a visual media and this is an audio media.
Yeah.
You know? So, but the process is the same, kind of.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah, and then you give your own sound to that if you have to, because whether it is Africa, whether it is Asia, whether it is America or Canada or Australia, sadness is sadness.
Right.
Happiness is happiness.
They're all universal emotions.
They're all
yeah.
universal emotions. Like, so music as a whole is a universal thing.
Yeah.
It is like the way I see it, or I think like music is, it's like a room, and then we all are seeing it from different windows, and that
Right.
changes the perspective of what the music is, but the subject, but the room is the same room.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just give it your own sound to it. You know?
Yeah. So I mean, like, so we also, as Indian classical musicians, have like that palette of ragas.
Yes.
Right. So, for example, if you have Bairagi and you have like Bhopali, whether you're Indian or not, or whether you know about Indian music or not, you can feel that Bairagi is sadder and
of course.
more
Heavier.
deeper and heavier, and that Bhopali is lighter and
Peppy.
peppy.
It's the same like when they say like major is very happy and minor is like sad. It's like that kind of thing. But then also there is happiness and sadness and happiness.
Right.
You know, so you have
Yeah.
everything and
Yeah.
everything.
Everything's mixed.
Yeah, for me, what I think that, especially the music that we belong to, or the music in general, also, it all portrays 9 basic human emotions. It's
Right.
all about
Numbers.
that, you know, and as it covers this, it just plays with the equalizer of those emotions. That's what music is,
Right.
you know. So I think, yeah.
So you just did another project with Rashi. I think it's,
Oh,
Is it coming?
it is to be aired, yeah.
It's still
but by
to
the
be
time
aired.
this episode airs, I think
It
it'll
will
have
be-
aired. Yeah. She was on here talking about it. So it's for a TV show on the CW, and you got to do
Yes,
some
yes.
Bollywood dancing.
Yes, I did some pre-score that was written,
Yeah.
pre-composed score, and then as usual, like I have to play all with the solo at the end of every recording. That's like a norm now, you know. So I did like some music for some other scenes, and it's especially helpful because Rasi is so like Rasi and Reena both. I have to tell you, they always send like scores like right away, like very like, so it's easy to
Yeah.
do that. It's not in the last minute, by the way.
And they're both like great composers.
They're both great
Composers, yeah,
composers.
very
Rasi is
professional.
amazing, like
Yeah.
for scoring in film and video, you know, film and TV. It's great. She is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're recording for them, did you have the scene in front of you?
Yeah,
or-
yeah.
Okay.
I did have the scene in front of me, and I had a timer as well. So it was a timer and the scene,
Oh.
and it helps.
So here's the thing. Kamaljeet and I sometimes get sessions for
Yeah.
film and TV and whatnot. I've done, I'd say 60-70% of them without seeing anything.
Yeah.
They just give you some general like
View of overview.
this is a very sad scene. There's two guys talking about their father that passed away.
Yeah.
Go.
And I'm like,
And you don't have any reference, and you
don't
just
have
have to
any
make
reference,
something
you
up
just
on the
make something
spot.
up, yeah.
I mean, the other times, so like it depends on who
Yeah,
the
it depends
composer
on who
is.
is
So
composing.
this composer is very free with us, right? But then there's other composers that work with us.
Has to be
That's
like
very
that.
A,
Yeah,
B,
I've
C.
written
Then
everything. I want you to play
everything is
exactly
laid
what I
out
played.
and mapped. And then if we can't read music, they'll hum it to us, and then
Yeah.
just repeat it, or they'll
I
give
think
us
that is
MIDI.
necessary, you know.
Yeah.
Like also like to have a guideline. It helps.
Yeah.
You know. And there are some things, like I remember playing for this movie Basmati Blues.
Yeah.
So that I was in there. I was actually helping out as a assistant music director. So, but there was a piece that I had to record, and it was like, so the girl comes to India for the first time, and the door at the airport opens, right? And he sees the hustles and bustles in India. It was one of the busiest airports, like I think possibly Bangalore or something. And then she sees it, and I had to play that, you know. So it was like a free run. Like,
Right.
what do you want to do? And then I played it. They kept it, and then they added a few other things, and it was done
Yeah.
because they want that craziness and a system in that craziness
Right.
needs to happen. So that was the overall point. So depends on the scene as well. you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting all the different avenues
Yeah.
that we take, like in music. So speaking of that, like let's listen to another one of your projects. I think it's from a group called Dara,
Yes.
and the track is called Pancha Tattva.
Panchatattva, 5 elements.
Great. Let's listen to that right now. And we're back. That was Pancha Tattva by Dara. So that's a great project you have.
Thank you.
Let's talk about something else that is really important to your life here in America, and that's the music academy that you set up.
Yes.
So tell us about that. Like, what's it called?
There are several visions attached to that academy. The first vision came, okay, first of all, when my father was teaching several students, and I started teaching when I was 10 to my father students. So I used to teach them the basics and stuff like that. So that started like that, So my practice used to go and they used to learn.
You taught your dad's students at 10.
At 10. So
Okay.
I was teaching them Sare Gama, like how to keep the hand and things like
Okay.
Who are these students? Like a 45-year-old?
that. Depends.
Oh
also.
man, teaching
That must be
10-year-olds.
so awkward.
Because I was already performing
Yeah,
at that
yeah,
point
yeah.
of time. I was performing.
No,
various
it's great for you.
Like I can teach Sare Gama, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
no,
you're a
I
little-
meant a 45-year-old
Learning from a little
from a
child.
10-year-old. It
You
looks
know-
funny.
No, it looks funny, but the thing is, there is a Sanskrit saying like, it doesn't depend on the age.
Yeah.
It depends on the what you have.
What you can do,
What
yeah.
you can
Yeah,
do,
but
or what
still.
you have worked.
Are you going to say, Uncle G, that finger isn't right?
Yeah, like and that what brings humiliation because you were able to learn from someone who is younger
Yeah.
than you.
It's a good humility point
Yeah.
of theirs.
Like that what I learned in US also. Like lot of the in the US education system. In India, if people go to the college at the age of 50, people are like, what's happening? What's wrong with this
Yeah.
person? In US, no one talks about that,
Yeah,
right?
you can go at any
it's
age,
awesome,
anytime.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then when the teacher teaches you, or the professor at the university, he's like 28 or 30, 35, and he's teaching a 60-year-old person. They're learning. So why
Yeah.
not in music,
yeah.
right? I am teaching a bunch of like 60-year-olds.
Yeah, yeah, of
They're
course.
learning. So that's the thing. Like it's not the age. It's what you have. Saraswati is like the goddess for music or knowledge is not small. It's in everyone.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
how you have cultivated it. That's what matters.
Yeah.
Not the age. So, so academy, the reason for the academy was, there are several ways, like, so when my father was like, when I was teaching my father's students, so I used to tell my father, what do you get out of this? No, seriously.
Yeah.
Like so this is a thing in the India, they will start with music, but then when the college or grade 11, 12, I don't know, all of a sudden what happens, they have to leave music for
Yeah.
studies. I don't get it. Like,
Neither did I.
why is it like that? Like music is, for everyone out there, I would like to tell you this. Music is an investment. If you know that language, it is an investment. It's an investment that give you returns in many folds
Right.
throughout the life till you are dead.
100%.
Because the last thing, when you cannot do anything else, you can do music and you can hum and you can still create.
Yeah,
So isn't that a great investment?
of course.
And that's what I think. So I didn't understand it. So I asked my father as a kid, what do you get from it? It's like, when you start teaching, you will come to know. When you start teaching in the real sense. And then I remember before 3 years, I told now I get what you were teaching for, So it's not about money or it's not about anything else. It's about the satisfaction. It's about the satisfaction that it's not only music, it's a way of life.
Right.
In a way. So the academy, the idea of the academy came when I was studying in my college. In LA, I felt while studying in the college that it's a very deserted area.
Yeah, and very
People are
spread out. People
very
aren't.
spread out. People are in their own
own world.
areas,
Bubbles,
own
yeah.
world. So I thought, man, this cannot go this way. Like I was been born in a household that used to have 70 cups of tea every day. And suddenly I come here, I'm seeing no one visits anyone, like
Yeah.
outside ceremonies or some things like that. So I was like, this needs to change. I need to bring people together.
Right.
And that was the motivation to start the academy. So I drove personally to people's houses and I started teaching. And that's where it all, like I used to drive like 100 miles from where I used to live.
Yeah.
In that. And I didn't have my own car. So my friend helped, Alex.
Yeah.
And he is a great video guy. He helped me. And I was driving his car and the AC didn't work that time. So I used to drive to Hemet from Santa Clarita.
Wow.
So that was I was driving, and it was hard, but it's just fine. It's fine. Everyone needs to do that, I guess.
Yeah.
It's fine. So that was one of the vision, and the second vision was I am really living that dream which my father had seen, which was this orchestra. So let me tell about this orchestra. So we were like 70 heads in this orchestra, right? So we used to practice. There used to be like a school that was been booked. So everyone came there on a Saturday or Sunday, and we used to practice. And then we used to like tour to different cities, right? So whenever we used to tour, we used to book an entire train compartment.
Oh, cool.
Fun
And
times.
in the morning, think about this: everyone standing with the instrument in the station, having chai, talking, and like laughing.
Yeah.
And the train arrives, everyone gets into a train, puts the instrument and things, and then they start opening their breakfast, and everyone starts staring. Like how beautiful it is.
Yeah.
I want to live that moment. I want to live that part of my childhood again.
Yeah.
And that's what was the vision for the academy as well.
No, that's
Beautiful.
great. And your students, for the people that are listening, there's a lot of music teachers out there, but Rajib's students produce results. You do a couple of annual showcases a year, and we go and we see the kids, and they're
How
little
developed,
kids,
yeah.
and they're doing difficult things, beautiful things, right? And like
And they're being sincere about
they're
it.
being sincere about it. They've got like it's not just about the melody. They're keeping the tali, like they're all aspects of the music. So you're doing great work.
Thank you. And it wouldn't have been possible without the support of you also, you guys also,
Yeah, we
and
don't
with
do
all
anything.
the
Yeah, we don't do anything.
all my
But
friends.
it's funny, your vision of like the sense of community was a major factor of why Kamaljeet and I did this show was to
thank
talk
you.
to people.
Yes.
Because otherwise people are just we especially in Los Angeles. I think in England you had a different environment
Definitely.
because it's so
Lots of
small, so they're
community
close
there.
to each other,
Yeah.
and so they were friends. They would meet and talk.
Practice, yeah.
But here, a lot of the musicians, like
live
this
far
is
away.
my team, this is my team, and
Yeah.
we're all separate. So and we're all common. We're all the same people.
Everyone knows each other.
So that was a motivation. So it's I didn't know that's why you started the academy. But that's why we started the show.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why I started the academy.
But
But I was never into. I was more into like performing and like I have to perform. I'm doing projects and things. Like the
Yeah.
teaching aspect, like I that's why I questioned my father. What do you get from this? Like these people will learn from you and they will live when they want and they don't even care about how
Yeah.
much time you have given. So what are you getting out of that?
So Kamaljeet taught a lot in England, but I never really taught unless I was helping, my fellow Gurubhais who are older and they already love the music. They already know everything, right? But now we started teaching in October, I think.
Yeah,
Seriously.
to beginners.
And they give you ideas. They ask a question in some different way that you never thought of,
Yeah.
right? And then, or sometimes you're composing something for them, some gada or whatever it is, and then you're you know what, I can make this
I
better.
can make this better. Yeah.
Let me just think for a second, and then you made something better that you hadn't played before yourself. So it's definitely making me better.
Right. Regarding this, I have a saying from Pandit Bhimsen Joshi ji.
Okay.
जिसको नहीं आता है वो सिखाता है
Yeah.
जिसको आता है वो सीखता है.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
Yes. So would you like to translate that?
You go ahead, but
Yeah.
who knows?
Who doesn't know?
Who doesn't
Doesn't know
know?
anything.
Teaches.
They teach.
Yeah, and who
Who
knows gets
knows learns.
taught. Yeah.
So that's what it is. For a student, for a teacher, it's all about we're all learning. Even the legend out there, they're also learning. But they're learning at their levels, we're learning at our levels.
Yeah.
Everyone is trying to reach the next. And that's how you go. And I have just one thing I have to tell to all the people out there, and especially Indians, and especially like all the Indian like kids out there. Because this day and age is such an important day and age of high speed and communication. You have to make advantage of that in a good way. Not by wasting time, but by doing something meaningful and learning all the things that our ancestors have kept for us. Because the gems are in there. the fruit of the future or the seed of the future is in the past that we have, the heritage that we have.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have to know that, and you have to give importance, and you have to learn, at least learn that
Yeah.
in the true sense, and then go out and learn.
And
other
you can
things.
use it anywhere.
And use it.
You
Yeah.
can use it in your jobs. You can use
Yeah,
it in if you want to
anywhere.
take the rag that Rajib teaches you and put it in hip hop. Do it.
Do it. Or not only music, it's
Yeah.
a way of life as
Yeah.
well. It helps you in multitasking
Yeah,
a lot. Musicians are great multitaskers because
definitely.
you're always multitasking
Yeah.
all the time, you know. And intuition, teamwork, all this gets built up. So think about it. Think about it. You know,
Yeah.
I would say we have like surplus amount of rich. What do you call that? Like a surplus amount of like things that have been kept for us. We just need to
our
like dig
heritage.
it and
Our
learn
rich
it.
heritage,
Our-
yeah.
You know,
Treasure, heritage,
treasures,
yeah.
right?
Treasure.
Surplus amount of treasures that we have.
Yeah.
We all have actually. Just we need to find it and we need to discover. Like it's all there. We just need to learn the right way of doing things. you know,
Yeah.
and put it into use.
So that's a great
Awesome.
sentiment to end on. So Rajib, before we leave, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, where like your social media handles and
Okay, so you can find me. Our website is lamacademy.org, or you can follow us, like us, whatever it is, at LAIM Academy, Lam Academy.
yeah, on all the social media sites.
Yeah.
And like you guys should definitely listen to Rajib's work when he has concerts. I think we're gonna do a concert in 2 weeks, but it'll be
It's gonna
after.
be gone, yeah.
It'll be after this or before this airs. But so we'll just say we just played awesome there. It was a
We
sold out
played an
event.
Awesome concert with
It was a
Rajib.
sold out event.
We're playing together.
Yes, we are playing together after like so many discussions.
I know, yeah,
and
after
it's
so-
finally happening.
Yeah, and then we
Yeah.
have another one in June.
Yeah.
So we're gonna. It's
good.
always a pleasure to work with Rajib.
Yeah.
So you guys can follow us at Absolute Focus, and our website is absolutefocus.co. And thank you guys all for listening, and thank you Rajib for being
Thank
here.
you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank
It's been
you.
a pleasure.
Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button.